Shabbat Shalom, Woodbury Jewish Center. It's me, Rabbi Fruit Handler, with your Shabbat Devar Torah, or sermon, drash, whatever you want to call it. This week we have a double parsha, Vayakhel Pekudei. In fact, we finish the book of Exodus before beginning the book of Leviticus. And the first word, you can't choose them like this. Vayakhel. You can't really translate it appropriately into English. In Hebrew, it's the verb of the word community. It's sometimes translated as to gather or fancily to convoke, although I'm really not sure what that means. But in this case, it means to build everyone together in a space in a way that makes them feel connected and as one and as a community. That's the first word of the Parsha in this week, our first Shabbat, without our beloved Woodbury Jewish Center being open for services. So what do we learn? And it should not come as a surprise. I'd like to learn three things about how to Vayakhel, how to community-atize us, how to make us continue to be a community. The first comes from the workers that helped build the tabernacle that story is concluded in this week's Parshiot. It says that they are all Hacham Lev, wise-hearted. In fact, it says Moses has to go out and call them, find the wise-hearted people, the Chacham Lev, to build the tabernacle, to make it a beautiful place where people can gather and have their prayer services and feel holy. But what does it actually mean to have a wise heart? Why this phrase? And why does Moses have to go out and look for them? Surely these people arrived at the moment. This is God's plan. But the rabbis tell us that, in fact, if you are truly skilled, often you have a humble heart. Don't always recognize your own talents, and so you might hang back. So what do we learn about building a community? The first is that if you are skilled, it is time to come forward. We need you, and you can do great things for us. And the second thing is it doesn't say skilled hands, like people who were skilled at crafts. It says Hacham Lev. And think about who these people were. They'd been slaves for 400 years, told to do the most menial of labor. Where did these skilled craftsmen come from? They came from the need of the moment. Not from years of training, but from some inborn godly talent to do beautiful things. Our world is upended, no less, I think, than those who were slaves and then were free. We are without a doubt in the wilderness, trying to build and recreate virtual holy spaces where we can feel connected and as a community. If you feel you have a Hacham Lev, if you have something to offer, I hope you'll feel yourself called to build our community to Vayakhel, to add to our digital content, to make comments on Facebook, to send in an email, to make your own videos. It is a challenging time that requires us to rise to the occasion. The second is from a small and very unusual part of this week's Parsha, the Urim and the Tumim. In describing the sacred vestments of the high priests, the special clothes that they would wear, the Torah tells us that there was a special compartment for the Urim and the Tumim. Now you might be wondering, what are the Urim and the Tumim? The truth is, we don't know. The Torah just says, and you need a special compartment for the Urim and the Tumim. Later commentaries tell us that they were the means for divining the future. They were some kind of special way in which the people could connect with what God wanted them to do. It's not clear. Were they sticks that were thrown? Were they a special state of mind? The rabbis tell us that the Urim and Turim only worked for a high priest who had Ruach HaKodesh, the spirit of the Holy One. In fact, Maimonides describes that what would happen if there was a national need, the king or the general of the time would come to the high priest who would go to the Holy of Holies. The general would stand behind the high priest and murmur their question or think it strongly. And the high priest would pray with all their might, and the special stones on the vestments of the high priest would light up in a certain order to give the people their secret message of what to do. It's a fanciful story. One that we can imagine playing out on a movie screen, but not in our real life. So what do we learn? What do we learn about Vayakhel, about gathering our community? We learn that when you're in the wilderness, when you're not sure where to go next, the path forward is not clear. You want guidance. You want to know that your choice is God's choice, is the holy path. And I think that the Urim and Tumim were there to allay concerns. But I have to imagine, especially in the way they are described being used, that the leaders already knew what they wanted to do, and it was the Urim and Tumim that confirmed their choices, that showed them the way forward. So if we want to build a community of united people fighting this enemy that we cannot see, this virus, this microscopic thing that invades every aspect of our lives, it means we have to try and trust ourselves, to trust the wisdom of our experts, and when all else is lost, to look inward for that Ruach HaKodesh, from that Spirit of the Holy One, and hopefully be guided by our own Urim and Tumim, our own guideposts that tell us, that inner voice that says, yes, you're making the right choice. And third, it can't be an accident that we finish a book of the Torah this week. And that if we gathered together, we would say, Chazak, Chazak, Venit, Chazek. We'd sing that great song that the cantor has led us in so many times, and that I will not sing for you. That's my Shabbat gift to you. But these words give us another clue about how to build that community. Strength, strength, and nit chazek. It is in the nit palel, which is the reflexive and the passive. You might literally translate it as, may ourselves be inwardly strengthened. May we somehow of our own selves strengthen our own selves from the inside. There's not really a great translation. But if we want to Vayakhel, if we want to grow a community, that's what we have to do. We have to be strong. Chazak, chazak. But if we're not just going to get through this, but we're going to thrive through this, we're going to even grow, we're going to find new ways of connecting that will be with us forevermore, then we need to nit chazek as well. We need to find a way to look inside ourselves and find a strength that can grow into greater strength. We need to find a strength that will remember that even though we don't get to be with all of our greater community, we will again. That even though this message right now is shared through some sort of screen, that the words of Torah can be shared in person again, and that our bonds will be even stronger so that when we finally do come back together, it will not be to recover or repair, but it will be to hit the ground running with our even stronger bonds. This Shabbat, as we finish the book of Exodus, and we try and follow Moses' command of Vayakhel to create a community, I hope we remember that we all have a Chacham Lev, we all have a wise heart and something to share in these difficult times. I hope we remember the Urim and the Tumim, and that even though we are in the wilderness, God can be with us if we reach out. And I hope we chazak, venit chazek. I hope we are strong, and reach inwards and grow in inner strength. Shabbat Shalom.